This.
It is really, really scary because each time you hear that someone gets shot, you worry about your child. You worry that it could be your child. If you are caught with a gun, you get a slap on the shoulder, you get bailed, and then you come out and you repeat the same thing. We need stricter laws. We need these criminals need to be punished. It is a terrible feeling, knowing that your child can be next.
And she knows that terrible feeling. She's the mother of a New York City murder victim, angry at city leaders, making an emotional plea that you just heard as crime is spiraling out of control. Violence in New York City's subway system has hit a 25-year high. Now remember, the mayor says, and other people in his office are saying, yeah, nothing to see here. Ridership is plummeting. The number of killings in the past 2 years now higher than the amount recorded during the entire 11 years between 2008 and 2019. Critics also railing against soft on crime policies, which have led to the release of violent criminals who commit crimes over and over. And by the way, those subway killings, they're person on person. They're stabbing. They're hitting people in the back of the head with hammers. I mean, this is out of control, and it's a tight space, subterranean, when you're down there. It's hard to get away from somebody who's trying to kill you. Police say the man who went on an axe-wielding rampage at a Manhattan's McDonald's last month was just arrested again, this time for vandalism and fleeing from police. I don't even know why they run anymore. They walk through a revolving door at the DA's office. An alleged member of the so-called Green Goblin gang, accused of attacking 2 teenagers on a subway, was released yesterday without bail. However, Democrats are playing the blame game.
We have a red state murder problem. 8 of the top 10 states with the highest murder rates happen to be red states.
These states in the United States that have a rate of homicide that is 40% higher are MAGA states. They are Trump states.
Republicans say the opposite. It's all the blue
Republicans
cities
lie. I mean, let's just get down to it. Republicans lie. That is what they do.
Wow. A New York Post op-ed calls it all a shameless ploy. It cites FBI data that show in 50 of the nation's largest cities, homicides are up by 16% in those led by Democrats. The numbers don't lie. Compared to just 9% in cities with Republican mayors. I don't know where that man was getting his numbers, or maybe he's delusional, but that one-on-one person crime, that is brutal. It's real. Jason Rantz, Seattle radio talk show host. Jason.
This is, at this point, 100% a political problem. It's not socioeconomic. It's not about access to guns. It's not about anything other than politicians changing the law or changing policies that are deliberately light on crime. And so the only way we're going to see any change whatsoever is if you make political changes. You boot the people out of office who are causing this, and you replace them with people who vow to change the situation. Because every single day that goes by without that kind of systemic change and really meaningful change is another day that you or someone you know is more likely to become a victim of a crime. Whether we're talking about New York, Philadelphia, Seattle, Portland, LA, all of these cities are on the brink, and it is political. We've got an election coming up. You just talked about it with Blake Masters. This is what's on the line.
Yeah, especially in Blake Masters' state, Arizona, when you mix in the border and illegals. Gotaways coming into that, and all the fentanyl. Absolutely right. The Los Angeles City Council president is forced to give up her leadership position this week over big controversy regarding deeply racist remarks she made captured on a leaked audio recording. It set off a series of angry protests. These just yesterday.
No, they must go. Hell no, they must go. Hell no, they must go. Hell no, they must go.
Nuri Martinez was heard making disgusting comments about a colleague's black 2-year-old son. She apologized and then resigned as president, but not from the council. The White House, The White House is weighing in.
The president is glad to see that one of the participants in that conversation has resigned, but they all should. He believes that they all should resign. The language that was used and tolerated during that conversation was unacceptable, and it was appalling.
The liberal media, however, are glossing over Martinez's party affiliation. She's a Democrat. First of all, break it down for me, Jason, your reaction.
Yeah, I mean, I'm actually quite surprised that so many people have taken to protest on this. I guess I'm kind of used to when a Democrat does this, they kind of get a pass, although maybe because the media is not actually mentioning that she's a Democrat, some people might be confused. But I'm glad that they're actually stepping up, because the only way that you're going to see some sort of real change is becoming activated in your community. And I know it takes a lot of time for people to just show up to some meeting in the middle of the day or in the evening when you've got a family and a job. But they decided to do that because they know what's on the line here. And so you've got to start getting rid of these very toxic people. And in fairness to the White House, I actually agree. It's not just about Martinez. It's about the others who were caught on this tape as well. Now, the media giving this a ideological pass, again, that is not necessarily surprising. We just had this conversation about Robert Tellis, who the Clark County public administrator, who was accused of a murder. They didn't talk about the fact that he was a Democrat. And they do this intentionally because we're heading into the midterms and they don't want to have any kind of causal relationship between the way these people act and their ideology, even though they do that to Republicans all the time.
I was just going to say.
It is pathetic.
A causal
they do
relationship.
it all the time to the right.
You heard from our previous topic, Republicans are liars and blah, 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 blah. Well, what are Democrats when they say overtly racist remarks about a toddler and in office?
Yeah.
What are they?
This was a lapse. This is a lapse of judgment on a Democrat. When a Republican does something, not even remotely close to something like this, oh, this is systemic and this is institutional, and it shows you the deeply embedded white supremacy within the Republican Party. It is the double standard is so obvious, and I'm glad that people are starting to pay attention, because again, these are Democrats going after other Democrats in Los Angeles,
Dem crime.
And they're starting to pick up on it. Yep.
Yeah. You know what, though? I will just say this. Just point this out. I don't see why the White House gets involved, other than the fact that they want this to go away as quickly as possible because she was a Democrat. And because this, once it gets out that Democrats are doing this and caught on tape and all of that, that becomes a focal point. And so wouldn't the White House rather get involved in this and push those people off the stage than solve the economic issues?
That's fair enough, but that's on all of us to make sure that they don't effectively do that, right? I mean, I think we take advantage of the fact that they're getting involved and put that pressure to make a change on the Los Angeles City Council, but then you pivot back to the economy.
You are a strategist and a radio host. Dim on Dim crime happening, and we're covering it. Jason Rantz, thank you very much.
Thanks, Harris. Appreciate it.
Pennsylvania Democrat John